And the other, we have Scott, I'm the shooter. So
I'm Scott Rendell. I'm a partner solution architect at Microsoft. So I only deal with the partner community. And I'm a modern word as a technical specialist in that space.
If you want to connect with us, we put our LinkedIn stuff on here as well, and the QR codes that you work. We tested them this morning to make them do work, so you can stop a picture on them if you want to. You can connect with us. If you have any questions throughout the whole presentation as well, please just ask. You like questions, you sound more than me, but I'm under
NDA, so
that doesn't mean that you won't try. So I'm sure you've seen this slide too, but we want to make sure that we call this out. If it wasn't for all the sponsors that come and get in step out that this is book, I mean, you take time, leads to, and with that, and Josh and John, and then you big taxi job, make sure that this conference is for you. If it wasn't for the sponsors that wouldn't happen, so I do want to make sure that we call them out. So thank you to all the sponsors that matter to us. Platinum's about years, Warren, the gold, silver, or even support years. So we really appreciate everybody kind of teaching it.
You know what's really nice about this conference too is it's a smaller community. So for example, the Enterprise Connect that we just had a couple of weeks ago, if you were in Orlando, big huge event. This one's really laser focused on the teams in the UC community, and the guys have really worked hard. This is the 6th season or 8th season, I think, that they're doing this year. So we're very happy that you guys have come out and very happy that our sponsors allow this to happen.
They should really do happen. So here we're going to talk about today. Like I said, we're going to do some Copilot and stuff. We're also going to talk about Teams premium features, and some of the things that come into Copilot license, or the $30 that you Copilot 365, whatever that you use this week, because sure it'll change next week too. What happened?
Actually, I want to address something before we keep going, if you don't mind. So how many of you know or have heard that Copilot's $30 per user per month, right? Almost everybody, right? And how many of you think that's expensive? Okay, fair enough, to be honest. All right, I want to challenge you for a second. We're going to play a little math game, okay? So let's say I work for a company and I make $101 an hour, okay? Right? I don't make that, by the way. I wish I made that, but sorry, somebody's trying to get a hold of me. So I make $101 an hour, okay? My company buys a Copilot license for me. It's $30 a month to $320 a year, whichever one, okay? And by using Copilot, I save 1 hour in my day. Okay, I actually save more, but when I'm doing PowerPoint presentations, but I can save 1 hour a day. Okay, I've just saved my company $100. So Copilot really pays for itself if you utilize it. And 1 hour a day is actually a conservative number when you get down to think, especially in the Office 365 space, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc. So I challenge you, for those of you that are saying, I'm not paying $30 a month or $320 a year. Think about the time that Copilot will save you versus how much you make. Every hour that Copilot saves you is another hour or is money that your company can realize. So I challenge you, and then multiply that times however many employees, right? Even if every employee only saved an hour, right? That's a lot of money. So it's not $30 a month. It's $1 per day versus what you can save in time. So I just challenge you guys for that. So
actually, now I go that further. If you just use I call it the free, but the included feature that comes with the iPhone, you just pick up the chat feature. I would almost say that you could save an hour a month with just that, because now you're searching a lot smarter than you were with just using Google, where you count the keywords in, right? Copilot Chat is doing with the semantic and how it's doing all the reasoning over what you're asking into. So I can almost challenge you. You're saying an hour just to include the 30.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So we're also going to talk about some of the different features that can Teams premium. So if you listen to Ignite, AEC, actually, there was a lot of things at EC that were for Teams premium. So there was a lot of AI, which you say between Teams premium excuses. You never got to do some of the things that Scott and I feel like are important in the $30 SKU orders to allow the next size of license features. So we're going to kind of through this. We're going to go from the included to the Teams premium to the Copilot one. With that, we're going to try to kind of stay from Ignite to today. We're going to try to, but it's going to be hard, right? Because Microsoft does a fantastic job of adding these to the product, right? The velocity that they change up.
Oh my God. It's insane. Yeah, it really is. I mean, I work here, and it's hard to keep up.
That they do MVP, like, every time we get EPA information, you file it to the student design needs, right? So it's like the rate of change. It's like I got to use your
I got to do it.
call it for the next shit of things that have happened that might cost that. So this is actually
Copilot generated, yeah.
So Peter was talking about doing the slide. We were kind of talking back and forth the slide. I've just said it's so hard to keep up as the velocity of change that we're doing. It's just a phasing. I mean, just got change too, but it's so hard to keep up, right? It's like a interruption here.
I want to talk about my slide. So Chris and I were putting this together. Like, he's like, it's like an eruption. I'm like, oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Let's get a generated a volcano, right? With like AI flying out of it. So I'm prompting away, right? And this is the best it would do. I wanted like AI in the cloud and all that kind of stuff. And every time I'd ask it, I had AI here. I had AI flowing down the river. It was everywhere except where I wanted it. So we ended up settling on that one. So the point of that story is, no matter what you're doing with generative AI, always just double check to make sure it's what you want.
No, exactly. And so we're going to get to some of the things that have just happened. This one was announced pretty recently. And I don't think it's not in my setup personally. I think you said it was at your team.
Yeah.
But the automatic location update. So if you are an organization that you're in and out of office, so you're this truly hybrid, and you actually use the calendar correctly where you show that you're a employee or is in the office inside the organization, different things for help. So what happens is they are doing it based on a couple of different things. You have bookable desks in your kind of office, and you plug into a bookable desk. So it's automatically going to date you to account. If you have it set up where your Wi-Fi is configured correctly to work with TNT connects to Wi-Fi in your buildings, then it'll also put your status into office virtual. And the cool thing about that is if you're in chat and you don't know who's in the office because you're truly this hybrid thing, you can now nearby. You can figure out who's up. So I know who's asking in the office, and I go in and see if we've opened the same org.
Bless you.
Nearby. I said, oh, say out to my office. I'll just walk over there and talk to him versus trying to follow on Teams. You see email, TV3, you also go on. So it helps the in-person experience to know who's in the office by just doing
that. At nearby is really cool, but I want to show you what the graphic is doing here. So if you can kind of see, I know it's a little blurry. Say this is a multi-party chat, and the person just did a pull down on the teammates in there, and you can't quite see it, but this actually says in building 3 or in building 1. Okay, because that person's got good presence hygiene. Okay, is what we're calling that. Okay, so if your presence hygiene is done and configured properly, then when you do that pull down or the at nearby, you'll be able to see. And this one actually went by building. So this example obviously had good presence hygiene.
You move into Copilot chat for what's included in your license set with, as long as you have an intra-enabled license. Versus the Copilot 365 or the $30 to you. I personally get a lot of questions. Well, what do I do with, and I don't want to say in the pre-bird, because it's the blue bird. What do I get with chat versus what do I get with the $30? So gotta not have this idea. Let's try to show a picture of it.
We'll see how this works.
Then you try it. So,
oh yeah, that came out good.
So what happens in the Copilot chat? You'll see right here. There's no toggle.
From web to work, right? So no web
browser, and you go to copilot.microsoft.cloud or whatever the URL that it is this week. You will not have an option here to go web and the web to work. That will not be there. But you will see that you do get enterprise data protection. You do get access to agents. The agents, and I'll touch on that in 1 second. But you do get access to pages. Thing that's somewhat recent that a lot of people don't understand. You can actually go back and reference some of your previous chats that you've had with Copilot. So this is really big, especially when you start coming in, right? So all this kind of together, you can get this and the included portion of Copilot.
Yeah, now we'll just caveat that. That is if your profile for the web page is your company profile. So if you're not switching, so if you switch profiles, obviously that's not going to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think this person is logged in right in the upper left.
Yeah, but yeah,
EDP. Okay, good.
So if you're logged in and you're ready to get this EDP, right, or you're across the position.
More on that later.
So if you have the $30 SKU or the Copilot 365, here's that toggle, right? So the toggle will show back up. So that's the easiest way to figure out which license do you have. Do you have the included license or do you have the $30 SKU? That's going to be your biggest telltale sign right there. Is if you see the web toggle, then you have the whole SKU. So you still get that EDD, you still get the recent, you still get the agents, but now you get the ability to start rounding on your data wherever you might. This is what the $30 SKU gives you just from the search capability. So you get a lot of things. You just also gets it inside the application. So if you're probably using Word or using Excel, you're using OneNote or using Look or using any of the applications that it's in today. It's also going to get Copilot inside those applications. But from Copilot itself, this is the big telltale sign of what you have. You can rely on that.
No, I'm good.
So we talked about real high level about Copilot chat, like what this called now, or the included feature. What do you actually get in Copilot chat? Just with so this is a new feature, and then I'll run to call this out because this kind of but a little bit of a game changer in my opinion to what Copilot chat does. Because before it was just it was an AI search engine. ChatGPT does, all the others do out there too. Now what you can do is you can actually upload documents. So you can do it in Teams, you do it in Copilot itself. You can actually have a conversation. So Scott and I are about to go into a meeting. He's like, hey, let's talk about this. How based on previous Word doc, we're going to talk about this in today's call. I'm like, so I'm going to ask Copilot, I'm going to upload it. So you can be one of these small documents right here, PDF, Doc, Excel, or PowerPoint. I can upload it. So Copilot will actually give me a summary, and I can ask a question to Copilot on that document. Now, this isn't Copilot in Word, right? We're in the chat.
Right.
So I uploaded it, and I'm asking you questions for it. You can also do it on images and text markup. There is some limitations right now. This is fluid. Make sure you understand as of today, this is the limitation. So it's a 59 file or Word docs that are 100 to 1,000. Still think that's this one changes every couple of days.
Yeah.
Today, the 16, that's what it did. But as you are that.
Yeah, and 50 meg's not a lot, especially when you're dealing with like PowerPoint presentations. So you just have to be very careful. Question?
Should those limitations be done with $3 and looking? Not for doing inside chat and just doing passing somewhere out of the doc report. That's the limitation you can file on yourself. So it's going to do that out. Give what to that goal. I leave files can be the one side of me. Still two, or can you do more than that? In the chat, I've only ever been successful with two. I'm not been able to go more than that. And they know there was like a published difference then. They say it's only two today. I know we used to one, and they have multiple biops. So like we said at the beginning, the velocity that they changed, as in today, that's the answer, but sorry. The roadmap, they don't have on the roadmap when they're updating those things, they're just coming out with
Well, I'll give you a secret about the roadmap stuff. You guys are going to love this. So as they're writing the roadmap, right, about the time they hit publish, they're told to stop because everything's changed already. So
I would believe it. This is actually included in the included version as well, which a lot of people don't know. You want to make sure we're real clear on this. This is not the interpreter fee. This is getting the ability to interpret, to translate the captions entity. So we'll pretend Scott's speaking German on a call. I have Copilot. Enable licensing. I have Copilot chat. I don't understand German, but it's easy for him to talk in his native language versus trying to translate on the fly to English. So I tell him, just leave your native language. I'm going to turn on on Copilot to translate this into the language that I speak. Yet not the interpreter agent where his voice is getting translated. This is just the captions. But this is included in the Copilot chat. But you don't see it. This is fire.
I have to use it when I talk to Chris because I can't understand his anything. So then it just doesn't work.
I don't think they have the ding translation.
No.
Then moving into Copilot pages again. This is included with the Copilot chat. So this is if you have an intro-enabled license that has Copilot, this is what we're trying to get. Copilot pages kind of like Loop on steroids, right? So Loop is a fantastic tool. We use Loop where we're starting to use it more and more together because you can do it cross
collaborative, yep.
with guests. So we're using it more and more. But now you can actually have Copilot. You can, when you're talking to it, you have to really like the answer. You're going to see just down there, add to page. What you do when you get added pages, it's going to actually create a loop page for you. And it's going to take your question and your results that Copilot gave you. It's going to put it over here in a loop page for you that now you can start editing it. You just like most of it. And you just wanted to kind of tweak some of the answers that you wanted to make it more personal or more relative to what exactly you're trying to teach you. You share it. So I really like the search. I want to share it with Scott. So now I can share my AI response that I got to Scott. Now we can work on this out of the Loop workspace. Copilot is taking everything else cool out Loop and then taking it to the next.
Yeah, I love this feature. How many of you are familiar with Pages or have seen it yet? Okay. So a couple of you. All right. So yeah, this is brilliant. So you don't have to copy and paste and then drag it over and yeah. So yeah, and then you drop it in, and then you got to reformat it. And what a pain. We're going to do it for you here. So yeah, just like he said, once you got your content, click it, boom, done, and now you can work with that space. Again, saves you time.
Yes.
Right. We're going to keep bringing it back to saving you time because what happens when you save time? You save money.
And so when it first came out, when Hinch first came out, you couldn't edit it. When you edit the text, you couldn't change the format. Like, so if you wanted to underline something, you wanted to bold something, you couldn't do that. But they actually, I think it was last week or a week before, you can actually do rich text editor using Copilot Pages to Our Copilot. So one of the newer things. And when you ask, you think Copilot reads one a lot, but it comes to video. It's a fantastic marketing video, but it's a video nonetheless. It gives you a good idea of what Pages.
Introducing Copilot Pages. Pages is a dynamic, persistent canvas designed for multiplayer AI collaboration. Let's say you work for an EV charging company and there's a new business opportunity. You start in BizChat and ask Copilot to do some research on the web. You want some basic information, like the number of daily passengers and information on the number of parking spaces with EV chargers. Copilot pulls the information and you turn the response into a page so you can keep working. You have to share what you've got so far and ask your colleagues to help. So you tag them. Everyone can immediately start to contribute, and you can see their edits in real time. Next, you need to get started on a plan for your proposal. So let's switch over to the Work tab. Here, you can ask Copilot to reference a previous plan to give you a head start. Copilot pulls in the deliverables, workback schedule, and owners, which you add to your page. Immediately, your colleagues can begin updating the workback schedule and assigning owners. The next step is the proposal outline. You want to review the customer needs, so a coworker uses Copilot to pull in a bulleted list of requirements from a recorded meeting with the customer last week. In seconds, Copilot is able to synthesize the discussion and give your team the key takeaways. Now you're ready to start building the proposal. Last year, you landed a similar deal, so you want to reuse that great work. You ask Copilot to use that proposal as a starting point and update it to include the new customer requirements. With one last click, Copilot pulls it all together for you. Pages is an entirely new pattern of work designed for human to AI to human collaboration.
Make sure this was made web at work. So this is one of the examples in there was the full $30 SKUs, but the only the portion when they started showing into the Word tab to bullet diet. So if you just think about this, how it's used today, the example of using EV with just the Copilot chat enabled to many keys. Like I said before, save an hour a month. That alone, you might save an hour a day.
Yeah.
We work in this way.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I said, if you guys have seen that, but Scott has been using it more and more, especially when we fly right together over North presentation. He's kind of a game changer, my opinion. It's really powerful.
Plus, working with him is annoying, so I want to shorten the amount of time. So we try and get that done and get out of it.
Can you throw, like that example, I added a whole bunch of stuff to the page. Can you then throw a highlight back at that body of work and say, okay, go edit for whatever it is?
Yes and no. So if you have this now that you're using Copilot inside, so you redeem it's kind of thing, but I'm just using chat. Copilot chat is not in right there. But if you have the SKU where it's actually inside loop and you could actually do the embedding again. So you can always pull it out, like your wife, and you could say, here's the data, and throw it back in the chat, and you ask more stuff, and then copy back into the pages that agents, yeah, sure.
But you're going to get an error because Copilot's going to say, I know I created that. It's perfect. We're not changing it. So
And now, we started up. So we're going to talk about the things that are in team premium. So these are going to be, if you have the team premium too, see, this is retail at $9,
something like that. Yeah.
something like that, per month, right? So this is not Copilot SKU, it's not Copilot chat, and using the training to upload to see document. Speaker recognition. So this has been around for a little while, but it was only available in rooms and it's only available in true live meetings. Now it's about how rig it has. So we'll make it like the down we did a couple weeks ago. Scott and I happen to be wearing the same tenant. Want to make sure that we could because our voice has to be on.
Actually, let's stop right there for a second. So in your Teams client, if you go into settings, there's an area that you can get into, and basically you'll speak a sentence or something so that it can pattern your voice. Okay. And then I think it also does your face as well, right? So yeah. So this information is now stored in your tenant. So when you are in a meeting that originates in your tenant, okay, then these features can happen so long as you recorded your voice print and your face so that the cameras will recognize you and automatically caption anything that you say because it will also capture your voice. So it used to be if you were in a room with a device, you could open up your device, use the room audio, right? And it would know because it would have your face, you would see that you were talking and it knew. So you don't have to do that anymore. You can leave your devices closed or not have to join the meeting, keep taking your notes, doing whatever, and you'll still be captioned. And if your cameras are the right camera, the cameras will be frame enabled and captioned as there as well.
Right. So when this first came out, it was just you're on the device meetings, like that's where it was, and that was last year. We actually talked about that. What they have done, and I forgot when they announced this, but BYOD runs. So just as any kind of a room that you're doing a meeting, and so the camera that we use, that Lieutenant Scott and I are in the same tenant, both our voices are onboarded. Scott, he's having a meeting, and I told Jeff's in the room, so he's having a meeting with Jeff, and I'll walk in. Scott's like, hey, just got pushed speed there, thanks, this go back. So I start talk because my voice is onboarded in the tenant, but I'm showing up under Scott because we're in Scott's meeting. It's going to recognize that my voice is now in this meeting. Instead of it saying Scott is saying all this, this means that Chris is saying all this because I came into a BYOD meeting as Scott's holding. You notice that my voice was there. Now the translation.
Right, and you'll notice some of the original stream features here. So it shows when each person was talking. So if I say, hey, Chris, I just need you to review what I said in this meeting. Right, he's like, well, where did you say it? Right, and so I don't know, it was like halfway through the meeting. He can go in, find where I said it, and jump right to it. And that's right, because it breaks down by speaker there. That's what those are showing you.
So this is more focus for people, reinforced it and get over it, trying remotely from your own.
So if you're remotely, then you're going to be on in, and obviously this already shows you that it's your voice.
Yeah.
Say, like the example, Scott popped into a room, but the address come here. So now there's two voices in the room, but it's not an into right? It's just a normal room that you're bringing up your own kind of equipment in there. So it's going to realize because our voices are onboarding, he's just Scott speaking into Chris speech writing. Okay. That means your question.
Yeah.
For this though, because it's BYOD, it's your meeting. You need the Teams Premium.
Yes, I need the license, yeah.
You have the Teams Premium license. It's just your call.
Right, yeah.
But it's a big originator of that meeting.
Yep, that's right.
Stuff.
So the voice with its setup recognition and all that is premium. Everybody has that.
Yep.
Then you can go to settings for the in your tenant. I do the settings up the 5 minutes.
In your record.
Yeah, the permission to find a call speaker is always going to be there. Do you talk about getting the G out from the and they have to turn that on. So I don't think that's all I know speakers are by default now, but
right.
It's faithful, right? At least by default, the admins have to turn.
Right. And then a question I get all the time about this feature is what happens if I leave the company? Because now they've got my voice, they've got my face. Okay. In Entra, those get deleted.
Yeah.
Okay. Once your profile is deleted, that stuff is gone. It's wiped. It's not kept for any reason. And the second question I get about this is what if I move from one company to another? Can I take my voice print and my face print profile with me? The answer used to be no. And I thought I heard a rumor that said they are working on.
It's on the road.
It's on. Question.
Others to you that falls like voice through
Oh, litigation hold?
and
I don't know that it would.
So litigation hold, if your profile is subject to a litigation hold, then it's like a platinum deletion.
Right, then it can't get deleted, right?
Yeah.
So,
If your account's litigation hold, then you can't disable it. It's
yeah.
that's true. So you don't mean she should treat it.
okay.
But she needs to treat it with that.
Great to have the recognition automatic. Yep.
Pretty funny nasty movie, or just fortunately I started the beginning. Whoever started pretty.
They have to have the license. Whoever organized and created the meeting has to have the license. Nobody else needs to have that license, but the voice print only works on people in your own tenant. So if you had external people coming in, they're going to already be identified as, because it's going to have their name, it's going to be external. All right. So you don't have to worry about it. But if it's an external conference room, right, you're not going to get that unless they have that feature. They'll see it maybe. But you won't see that from them.
So another thing kind of come on top of this. So meeting room, now I'm at AM and he's at Microsoft. He's got a meeting room with cold people and I have the cold people. He goes in and most of the transcription for kids. You get everybody in the voice in the call. The stack of tenants. He's not going to see the voice recitation on
Right.
It does not go across that.
Right.
That's a big thing that I can look to. What if they might say he's the well then just him. Well, I see all that job because it's cross tenants.
Right.
He's only going to see Microsoft. I'm only going to see the.
If you want to see everything like this, you have to see very much.
Yeah, if you want the article stuff, then you shall. Right now, you can share out the recap. That is the new feature that's got and you get out and go.
Satish?
This thing just got right? They got it off. And you license that you go license. Is the British one.
Yeah, that's
Great. Yep.
Prototype is coming in by the nothing.
Yeah, so if you're on sorry, Vic, this is what we're kind of dwelling on here. This is now available for Bebop meeting. So if you have a true on HDR, that's the best thing there. We talked about it last year actually.
Right.
That's what you're going to
Yeah.
It is one you need to realize. If you're in an HDR range, you have facing afterwards. But it does have to be HDR. If you're in HDR, for that if you want. So
I'm losing you with all these acronyms. And we need a chart.
that's one. Yeah, you're top.
MTROW, MTR, MTROA, BYOD. SOP. You need right.
RWME or something. So those are mean words that had a Windows-based operating system on the media device. CTROA is an Android-based media that has an Android-based operating system on it. BYOD occurs on the device. What was that one you needed? No, it's not so serious.
SOB.
So this was announced at night in the EC, the Enterprise Tonight, and they actually announced the go live and actually this one. So what this is saying is if you were at Alex's premium license, this is the premium kind of feature that if you are sharing a document inside the meeting and it has a sensitivity label, you can now, the meeting will ask you, do you want to update the label of the meeting to the same sensitivity label because you are sharing a 16 document. Just what you, again, this RAM purview has to be set up on TF11 So there's some prerequisites listed here. But this is actually rolling out this month. When they talked about this at Ignite, I was excited about this, and BC was like, okay, it's going to draw. I can't wait because this is just not in it. Because I think this is the real
Yeah, it's bringing it all together. So you hear Microsoft talk about purview and security and data integrity and all that kind of stuff. This is just the logical next step, right? We're trying to help you, right, be protected, right? So with things like DLP and purview and things like that. So having this automatic and then notify is very important because somebody may have just inadvertently shared a document that they weren't supposed to, or they clicked on, say, the wrong version or something that they hadn't scrubbed. So this is just really protection for everybody, in the meeting, especially if you have external participants or guests.
And this one's kind of going along the same kind of feature. Again, this requires Purview. The E5, it requires Teams Premium, but it will actually show you, and I think the next one that has a video, it actually shows this. You're out sharing this document, and we'll say that this guy does not have the actual sensitivity label on as a profile to be able to view this. You will ask you, are you sure you want to share this data? So it's going to make sure that, I forgot the guy's name. I used to know all these things, but I forgot. But he doesn't have the right sensitivity label to actually see the document that I'm sharing. So it's not going to share it automatically. It's going to give you the prompt. And you can say, I don't want to share it, or don't show me this message again. We just need to change this.
Oh, he Teams bombed this thing. He doesn't have a name.
I'll stop there. Thanks.
All right, so this is all like the audio on this one, but this is a video. You can kind of see it out. That's there.
Yeah. Is that it? There's one shot?
More.
Just one shot? Oh, here we go. So in this case, you got both of them. You get to see both. One that said the classification for the document, and then it said, hey, there's some stuff in here we don't want people to see.
Yeah. Again, E5 Purview has to be set up, so you can't just have an E5. Purview has to be set up with sensitivity labels. So there's a little bit of work on your side. You have to set up, and then you have to have Teams Premium on top of that to all the solution. Recount instant messages, which one would be. This is where you can actually go into any of the recaps now, and you can actually share your recap stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that's so you can actually share the recaps. Just to your point earlier, is if you had this, you do intelligent recap now, before you couldn't share the recap. You could always see it because you have it on your screen. Now you can actually
You got to go fight to your $1 a day. This thing, so that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Each spring I have enough. This is the like $10 you got about we use.
Hope you can highlight the word, right?
Yeah, what you ask?
Government's probably making your blood gas on this one. Yeah, it's really, that's a game trick. Yeah.
Intelligent recap was limited to just the movies. This was the EC, I think, the analysis. Yeah, this is fairly new. Any kind of the other kind of events. So if you have a webinar, you have a live event, you have a town hall, any of the other kind of meetings that you can do inside Teams Premium now, if you want to do an intelligent recap, that feature is now available. So you can get all the speakers of when they did it. Here's so always a little bit of a DVR type mentality if you're in a town hall or a webinar. So this is a newer feature is rolling out. So if you have Teams Premium, you don't see it, it's still a machine.
And this is great because your webinars and your town halls are typically longer in duration. Okay, so it's nice if you're following it or if you jumped in halfway or whatever. You know what else is really nice about the webinars and the town halls is if you're viewing it live, right, and you need to step away, you can hit pause, step away, come back, and hit play and pick up right where you left off. Even though the meeting continued, you can then follow it, and you'll have the option to then jump to live as well. I love that.
Yeah, so that's the DVR feature that is the true one.
Yeah.
So now it's again that balance of the DVR actually.
Yep.
So you pair that with the intelligent recap on top of it, making your point you need to step away or step out. This is the it burns to really make it where you can, no matter where you are in your flow for a kind of with the anything. So $30 in flow can you should eat like that.
Dude, no, we don't want to. No, it's $1 a day. That's it. $1 per day per user.
Awesome.
I should have put the math up there. I didn't think it's a little late to that. So.
This is another one of those game changers. I think at least you just touched on this one time too, because this is fairly new. I saw something that you worked up on this. But if you are having you have a ball coming in and you have Copilot enabled, and you are taking those Copilot training notes, you're like, okay, I actually need to transfer the call somebody. You can have Copilot instead of the note. The transcription has happened up to that point, and the person that you're transferring it to, you can transfer all the Copilot to Only person that needs a license is the person that you took the call. So Scott doesn't have a Copilot license. I ingest the first call. I'm talking with somebody, and there is really something Scott needs to handle because it's outside of my little house or I don't.
Or he's just lazy.
Oh, yeah.
He just don't look at the sky.
So all the conversation that we've had so far, when I go to transfer it, it's going to say, do you want to send some notes to this point? So Scott doesn't have the Copilot license, right? He's not having $30 SKU. He's still going to get the entire summary that's going to be transferred to him on a transfer call. And he's going to see related to white versus me trying to relay everything to him. And maybe just something because, the no call, you can actually transfer the whole summary. You still kind of have that. This was announced to me. Pretty sure that he actually had a session on about that.
Because then my lady, doesn't have a license.
He the summary, but he doesn't have a Copilot. It will not summarize this college thing. He needs to transfer that to somebody else. He's only transferring to something that's
Did you have to click from Kalani, or did you have something set up to automatically transfer some call?
Either of those will work. So if you don't have the policy set up to automatically do that, then yes, you do have to record it.
Right.
But if you're a lot of people, I think it's on by default now. If you have Copilot, that is on by default. They let you transfer.
Does it announce on so the person that's calling in, hey, this is for me or transcribe?
Your policy is set up to record. Yes, the policy that would transcribe or no.
Okay, so you can have just transcription turned on to be.
So Copilot has a soft transcription, so you don't actually need transcription on now. So it does what you call it soft. I don't know another way to tell people, but you don't have to go in and transcribe or record. It's doing it in real time behind the scenes. So if you want to go by a summary or this call, it's not storing the transcription. I think where you're trying to go.
Yeah, all right.
Stop. So as soon as the meeting's done,
It's gone, right? Yeah.
Okay.
This white dog tend to more the harder part first. This kid fight. What happened? I'll try another turn. The only time that you get out in the only different be more dark, you get all that back to that fight.
Where do you should get third bar?
Yes, so I kind of I said that the thing will be guest TN if they're respecting on your recording on the ratio on the tape.
Yes, right. Yeah. Separate from meetings. So.
Ready. We go to the transfer, so put them on hold, and they just look your name to we're going to transfer it to. They already the call transfer done. So if you jump this, then it's going to do. Now it's creating the draft that is going to send election. This is a mobile feature. Yeah, $30 to review. No $30 live bet. Yeah, we're in the $30 SKU stuff. Okay.
I can see like a service desk really slides tickets.
Yep.
This is good.
Yep. Or help desk escalation. Yeah. Type thing. Yep.
They generated it, and now when they did transfer, it's all going to go to first AD shots. You can still do the warm transfer. I'm not saying to people still do that. And that's just good to get everybody in opinion because you can't ever fetch a motion equal amounts every obviously. But when you do a warm transfer, you probably about anybody in this room about all of it. But it's just a bit. I'll always answer the next call, right? Either your hand was on it. Yeah, it's just guys, do you like this and shit and what to do? What is generating on this video? Is that available faster? And what are they do? So if you have the Copilot license, yes, it will be available. If the store in Copilot, how it is stored is the day. Not my knowledge is not being stored in the living zone. I don't think it's not creating a phase. You got to grab him. Your wife's especially must where's nuts.
I think it's blob storage.
Yeah, I think
I think it's blob storage in Azure, but it's it's like a revolving temporary storage.
It was I mean, you can stop it directly. I know. I did up. Terrible.
Of course.
So this is what we were talking about earlier. So this is, you don't have to have a transcription on for PSTN call. So think about the evolution. So before you used Intelligent Recap or if you used Copilot, either one of those, you had to have transcription on, right? Then they enabled, you could do this inside if it's Teams call without having transfers. Then they announced that you could have Copilot take meeting notes for you on a TSTN call as long as you had a transcription. What this is saying, now you don't even need the transcription during the PSTN call to have Copilot taking notes. So what this actually means is that if you're taking an ad hoc call and you're not ready to have one note open, default, but it's however you take it, everybody takes notes too. It's an in-round 2 call. Copilot can actually summarize before you, so that you try to hurry up and pull up, you're done taking after you use the sites to take notes. Now you can just have the conversation. When you just have a conversation and not focus on taking notes, I don't know about anybody in the story, but for me, my conversations flow a lot better, and it's just a better interaction on both sides. So if you can just have a conversation without worrying about taking notes, the conversation goes better.
Yeah, so see here, content isn't saved. The content from Copilot is only available while this pane is open. Okay, so for this particular call. And then you get another dialog box that basically confirms it again.
This is if you don't have transcription on.
Right.
It's called. So if transcription is on, you can't say that this is talking about in the transcription. I make sure we're all thinking.
But you can still copy and paste that.
Correct. Right. As long as if the thing is still on the call, once the call is over, it's done. Yeah.
And that's the gotcha there. Is that if you're quick to hang up or they're quick to hang up, you have a copy.
Right.
It's a case where you're like, oh, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that? Click, repeat that. That's
One just a second.
Yeah.
I think I believe in pink button.
So facilitator, this was announced the adding back. It's still in preview, so I just want to be full disclosure. This is not 100% authorization. But is everybody familiar with what facilitation is? Yes, no, I'm sure you're all like Fletcher. I mean, was it the first time you saw it? How about that? Yeah, okay. So this video, this is one of the newer videos, and this is actually pretty deep. I'm going to go into a little bit of kind of that.
Introducing the Facilitator, a new agent that works alongside you and your team in Teams meetings. Start by scheduling the meeting. In the Teams calendar, you can easily enable note-taking for the meeting. If the meeting is already underway, just toggle on AI-generated note-taking in the Notes tab. A notification will appear in the meeting chat confirming real-time notes have been activated. As the meeting is in progress, you can access real-time notes by clicking on the Notes icon. You'll see the notes automatically generate in the pane as the conversation happens. They're organized by topic with follow-up tasks that are automatically generated. Collaborating is easy. You can co-author notes alongside your team and the facilitator, make updates, and add details at any time. Real-time notes are continuously captured and accessible to the whole team, so everyone is aligned before the meeting ends. After the meeting, just click on the Recap tab for the meeting notes where all the key details are organized, and action items are ready to go. AI-generated note-taking allows you and your team to engage deeper in discussions and achieve meeting objectives efficiently.
Thanks.